The bubble map we are looking at shows the connection between body mass index for women, which is the response variable, to the explanatory variable income or gross domestic product from 1980 to 2008. The main pattern we can see from the countries represented on our map is as income increases, so does BMI levels. But there are lurking variables that may affect the response variables, such as population growth and population control. Another lurking variable may be the number of underweight women in the country, bringing the BMI average level down. Let's look at some examples on our map. We will start with the United States. In 1980, recession hit the country, causing many families to cut costs, meaning fewer fresh foods and more processed ones. In 1983 to 1990, we see there is an increase in both income and BMI, which could be related to President Reagan's 20 million jobs created and his massive tax cuts established. By this time, eating processed foods became a way of life. In 1993 to 2000, because of the dot-com boom, inflation was manageable and unemployment rates had begun to fall. But in 2001, as we can see on our bubble map, after the 9/11 attacks, another resource hit, lasting several years, and was the cause of many families having to downsize and house share. With less money for food, American families were faced yet again with the choice of costly fresh foods or cheap processed. Now let's look at both China and India. We will notice on the bubble map that both countries steadily increase in income, but do not increase very quickly in BMI. Let's look at why this is the case. In 1980, China enacted the one-child policy in hopes of bringing down the population growth, while at the same time increasing their exports of agricultural goods. Less mouths to feed meant more, and money for farmers meant more money for food items. Industry and tech also began to boom, causing workers to spend more time at the factories and less time at home. This lack of time ushered in the fast, cheap, and easy industry of fast food. In 1990, India created the service market, when outsourcing job opportunities became available for men and women alike. And just like in China, more hours at the office meant less time at home cooking fresh, healthy meals. You would think then that their BMI levels should be rising much quicker than they are. However, these two countries also have the highest number of underweight people in the world, bringing down the average BMI. Next, we will look at Iraq. We will see that this country has very dramatic decreases and increases in income during the 28 years recorded. The first decrease of income we will see starts in 1990. This may be in connection with the first Gulf War. During this part of history, food and money were very hard to come by in a war-torn country. And in 1999, we see a shift in income as the U.S. leaves Iraq and hands over the control to the government. In 1996, we see a rise in both income and BMI, which may be attributed to the Oil for Food program established within the country. In 2002, again, we see a dramatic decline in income, which could be because, once again, the U.S. invades Iraq seeking to dismantle their chemical weapons. The last country we're going to look at is Nauru, an 8 square mile island in Micronesia. It is an outlier in our bubble map because it does not fit the overall pattern of increase in income, resulting in increase of BMI that we can see in most other countries. Theirs is quite different. Theirs is a dramatic decrease in income and an extreme increase in BMI. Before 1980, the GDP for this country was 41,300, primarily because of the phosphate mining on their tiny island. While Nauru exported tons of phosphate, they also imported just as many goods, mostly food products. However, by 1980, without proper education, the food choices they made were unhealthy, which led to their high levels of BMI. After viewing this bubble map, I believe it is fair to say that increased income can result in increased BMI. I also believe that is shown on the bubble map that once the BMI levels start to increase, whether income does or not, BMI continues to rise. This leads me to believe that once the unhealthy habits of eating fast, cheap, and easy start, it is very hard to change their effects.